Hi everyone, it's Claire again. It's that time of the month, so it's the full moon and it's a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, and it's a worm moon because the worms are coming out at this time in the northern hemisphere, actually. So this is the eclipse season starting, and really we get access more to the spirit realms. We have vivid dreams, we might get guidance, and we can connect to nature. And I looked at the usual astrologers. So one of them I've looked at is Maria Varsani, and she talked about really Venus in retrograde as well from the 2nd of March till the 13th of April. It's an inner planet near the Earth, and it goes retrograde every 18 months. And Venus links very much with the feminine, with prosperity, with relationships, with the goddess archetype, with arts, beauty, and pleasure. And so introspection and reflection are good at this time. And also Mercury is retrograde on the 15th. I'm recording this on the 14th of March. Tomorrow Mercury is retrograde, and that's about more reflection and introspection. And Venus and Mercury are closest to the Earth, so it can really affect us with these two big planets being retro. And this full moon is conjunct in the South Node, as Maria speaks about, in Virgo. And the South Node is linked with karma, with past lives, with release and letting go. So a lot to do with endings, really. And purifying. This is a purifying full moon because Virgo is very much about purity and health. And it connects with the priestess as well, organization and strategy. And there'll be lots of cleansing, letting go of unhealthy patterns. We can purify our house and our body. And also death and rebirth are very aligned with the South Node in Virgo. So lots to do with really introspection and checking things out and connect with purity of our soul and what is true to us. There's also some oppositions, the harder aspects of astrology, which she thinks might be quite intense and might feel a bit like a knife cutting through radically, where Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces, and it will facilitate changes for us. And the eclipse and retrogrades will feel a lot more at this point. Then we're on to Tanya Gabrielle, who's also into numbers and numerology and the dates. And she mentioned the times. So March 14th, 6:54 a.m. London, 1:54 New York, and 10:54 p.m. Pacific. I think that was the 13th. And also the fact it's a blood moon. So it's a more ready moon. And although I just saw the news in Britain and not many people saw it here, I don't think. And it's quite partial here, really partial. Also, it links with emotional, feminine, and covering things. So, honors cycles of life, death, and rebirth. She talked about, and it's 23 degrees of Virgo. So, and the sun is at 23 degrees of Pisces, and 23 is the lion and king of the jungle. And you've got really 2 and 3 are 5, and the 14th is also 5. So you've got the double whammy there. So 5 is a big number today. It means freedom, and it both faces right and left if you think of 5, and it sits on a rocker, and which is kind of a pivot. So it's a pivot point, and it's about setting the self free, really. And also she talked about the 3rd of the 14th, 2025, the date in full, which adds up in numerology to 17. And 17 is immortality. Sorry, I can't say it. And a lot. Also, she said a lot can happen in these 6 months because you often feel the impact of the eclipses. They can go on 6 months or more, so it's a very powerful one. And Virgo is about mind, body. It's an earth sign, very linked to organisation, health, and healing. Very good time to cleanse, purge ourselves of toxins, and cleanse it almost like the sludge inside us. Not sure what she was referring to there, but I think she meant the energy, really. And also the several planets still in Pisces, so Saturn, Sun, Neptune, North Node all in Pisces, which is very watery and a flowing sign, and very spiritual as well. And also Virgo is often of service. It's very linked to service, Virgo. So you've got those kind of links to the higher realms, really. And Venus being in retrograde, obviously there's that focus, and it's often about love, relationships, beauty. And after the eclipse, straight after, like tomorrow, Mercury is in retrograde, so a lot to do with reflection, slowing down, and also seeking higher guidance. And eclipses, as she said, put us where we need to be, so we need to trust the process. And Saturn is conjunct with the Sun, so opposite the Moon, and that links to organisation, persistence, concentrating, achieving possibly our career goals. The 10th house might need to declutter, might need to simplify, spring cleaning or autumn cleaning, depending on where you are, being in balance and overcoming challenges. And Saturn builds a foundation and builds up. So there may be delays, but we have to resolve that those can, be recognised and then be dealt with. And Neptune is conjunct with the Moon, so focus on spirituality. There could be feeling of strong dreams, messages in those, mystical feelings, spiritual awakenings, strong intuition, focus on the arts, the music, beauty, mystery. But with those things being kind of a bit esoteric, some of them, and you can't always see those things, set boundaries, be really clear on boundaries at the moment. The moon is trine to Uranus, and Uranus is a bit of a kind of, left of centre planet. It helps us be flexible, deals with unexpected events, things like that might be occurring, be open to breakthroughs and open to abundance as well. And Venus in Mercury ruling, which rules Virgo, sextile to Pluto. So using words, the messenger of sometimes looking at visions, and Venus Mercury sextile to Jupiter, travel, investments, positive energy. We may feel drawn to travel. Jupiter is linked with travel quite strongly. Pam Gregory, we're on to next, is always very, very, explains things in detail. So she talked about a very fast, powerful March, especially the second part. She looks at and encompasses the whole of the astrology amazingly well. And her themes continue from one month to another. So it's very interesting. She talked about Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years. So lots of change with geopolitics and things, and a major shift in consciousness. And she's followed that really avidly and helped people with it, I think, greatly. Mercury, Venus retrograde. She talked about a kind of zigzag feeling because both those planets are obviously ruled by, I'll have different themes to them, and we may change our minds. So try to be centered at this time. She talked about breath work, being in the heart, meditate, not in the head, because obviously it's kind of like there's some influences like that going on. And very Piscean, as we talked about, and the other astrologers found. So a very intuitive month because Pisces is a water sign and many planets are in Pisces. It might feel a bit drifty, dreamy, sensitive, creative. I'm a water sign, so I'm well into that. But some people, the earth ones, they might find that a little bit more challenging. And 2nd of March, she talked about Neptune conjunction Mercury was good for ideas. What were we dreaming in? And then she talked about the Venus retrograde for over 40 days, spends 3 months in Aries and then 2 months in Pisces. So it's kind of in both signs. And she also interestingly talked, I thought, about March, what happened with us in March 2017 to mid-April 2017, because Venus covered the same ground. What happened then for us, particularly perhaps linked with themes to do with Venus? So that is like love, relationships, and that can mean relationships with, anyone really, and beauty and so on. And also, this can be a time to reevaluate relationships. Old partners may reappear as well, so be aware. Female friends, even, our friends. Look at our friendships. Financial matters as well. There could be volatility of the markets and maybe reevaluating our appearances because Venus is very, linked with beauty. And so observe now, maybe at this point in time before taking action, because Venus on the 27th of March goes from Aries to Pisces and activates around Aries around 8th to 10th of March. So it's kind of going on quite a while. That's what she's saying. So maybe think about what you want to do to change things. And Mercury retrograde as well, she mentioned 15th March, 9 degrees of Aries. So it crosses back into Pisces again later, and then it's retro till the 7th of April. And we know all about that. I've said many times it can link with going over contracts, going over travel arrangements, being more careful, extra careful with arrangements and travel agreements and communications and things. And also the last few degrees, Pisces, first few of Aries. So she talked about that old structures may fall away, idealism, dreaming. What do we yearn for? What do we yearning? She used the word yearning as being important at the moment. Friends, partner, career, home, divine, mysticism, the source. We can't see these things, but there's this sense of divine flow going on. But therefore, a sense of discernment is important with choices and sense of sacredness and ancient practices. And health may come up, like detoxing, supplements. Virgo is very connected as well with the gut, with the immune system. And health is a key topic in the eclipse period. And eclipses are like wild cards, she mentioned. So they can mean closures and completions. And the South Node is, about the past and endings. So really a big theme at the moment is what is complete in our life, and sort of process that. Where have we been a victim as well in relationships and in the world? Look at that. And Pisces the negative sides of Pisces can mean deception, drugs, media, oil, seas, toxicity. And we had the collision of the two big ships near Hull in the North Sea, further up north from where I am. Really tragic and terrible for the environment and so on. So it's interesting. It can lead to water issues, all this, the planets in Pisces, lies, deception. So reconnecting to ancient ways, mystical merging of things, she mentioned, and this sense of purity, sensitivity, even telepathy and herbalism, going back to using, herbs. And so the totality of that lunar eclipse, she talked about covering North America. Obviously, America's got so much going on at the moment. So, and the western half of South America, and the UK, a partial eclipse, and Europe and Africa and Antarctica and a few other places. And then we're on to Molly McCord finally. And she talked about letting go and the 23 degrees of Pisces and the sun, moon opposite, and the Virgo South Node release, Pisces clearing out, transcending energy, ending possibly in two sections of our charts, which I can't go into and I haven't looked myself, but we may feel that. So endings in potentially two areas of our lives. And what we realise, something may not be working, so that might lead to the closing down of something or some things. She talked about Virgo and the link between the intellect and the body. And really, the sun will work through our subconscious intuitively. The sun and Neptune are opposite the moon. And March 12th to 19th, something comes to our awareness that is not working. So that was a theme coming out from her astrology. And maybe health, for example. I thought she did this really well. So she explained that what is in the subconscious which is not helping us. So, for example, about health, we might go to the gym, chances thin with me, but we are eating too much, so we might self-sabotage ourselves. We're doing one thing right, but we're doing another thing where subconsciously we don't realise, but we're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot. So what are our secrets? What are our habits? And Virgo, look out working for something. And Pisces about relaxing and leaning back and trusting. And so there's kind of two things there. Virgo is about how to do something, but Pisces is more about feeling it. So that, again, like Pam was saying, there might be that zigzag feeling there. But the lunar eclipse can ground us. And how do you think you will cope with it? And are you going to feel overwhelmed? Well, I really wish you well. It's about nearly 15 minutes. So I hope you can cope with that. Take care and very happy full moon. Bye for now.